know my friends get very annoyed at me whenever we go anywhere because I'm like at a restaurant. I'm like, oh my god, do you see the philodendron in the corner? Okay, Lexi, like stop being a nerd. Did you see that plant? I just really enjoy plants. That's my entire life.
I just really enjoy plants.
I really enjoy plants.
I really enjoy plants. I can't. Today's video on Thrive or Die is going to be all about
philodendron!
And the reason why we have philodendrons today is because on Lexi's Instagram she got a message and it said... Basically, someone had a philodendron hope and they wanted some care instructions. So we're going to...
Shout out Jazzmen!
We're going to make a whole philodendron video and we're going to include the philodendron hope.
Yes.
And we're going to go over some pothos as well, how you can tell the difference between pothos and philodendron, and some care instructions for all different types of philodendron. You want to start us off?
Sure.
So, how do we water our philodendrons and what kind of soil do we keep them in?
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, let's start off with the philodendron hope that Jazzmen had asked me about. I gave her a bunch of tips on how to take care of it because she was afraid it was her first large plant. She had taken care of a bunch of baby plants before, just not a bigger one, which to me, I don't know about you, but the larger ones are easier because you can leave them alone longer. But the philodendron, I mean, it's funny, my boss at work actually had me take care of his philodendron hope today because he had no idea what he was doing. Shout out Brendan. Sorry, I called you out on that. So I had him move it from his office that has absolutely no windows and is probably 200 feet from a window to the front of our building, which is an east-facing window and gets a bunch of bright, direct sunlight. And then I had him water the heck out of it because it hadn't been watered since he bought it probably a couple months ago, I want to say. But it is... I offered the advice to do half cactus soil, half regular soil, just so it's well draining for the philodendron hope. And then I said, a bunch of bright light, as much as you can get. I think Jazzmen said hers was in an east-facing window as well. And to repot hers because the roots were coming way out at the bottom. And I said to upgrade to a pot that's at least 2 inches bigger. Right around there is like the happy medium of letting the plant like wiggle around and get comfortable in it, but not outgrow it too fast, and for it to not have too much room for the plant as well, which I thought, yeah,
That's about the standard size.
2 inches bigger.
I feel like we all know that we love well-draining soil.
Yeah.
Lexi, because she tends to overwater, and I like that aeration in the soil to make sure that I don't overwater, and that everything drains out. So I love mixing cactus soil in anything that I'm putting in, whether it be philodendrons, whether it be pothos, I mean any other garden plant that you can think of. I'm taking my regular garden soil and mixing in the cactus soil that I use. And I'm not talking about like store-bought cactus soil that you can get at Home Depot, because that tends to be a little bit more organic than some of the specialty stuff that you can get online.
Yeah.
Or if you have a really good nursery, then they probably carry some of the better stuff as well.
Yeah, black gold I think is what I use.
Yes, I love black gold, Fox Farm, things like that. And of course, if you want to fertilize, you can definitely fertilize. And that's about it. We're going into winter now, it's the colder months, so if I'm not seeing active growth on any of my plants, I'm going to stop fertilizing. But if I am still seeing active growth, then I'll still do a dilute leak solution of fertilizer. All of my plants still have the slow release fertilizer on them, so they're still getting something, and they pretty much all have new-ish soil, so I don't have to worry too much because there are some fertilizers in the soil and nutrients. Yeah. So that's about it.
Yeah.
Most philodendrons, like Lexi said, also love bright indirect light, and they could probably take direct-ish if you acclimate them well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so the philodendron hope that I have at home definitely has direct light. The philodendron hope that I take care of at work, we just threw into direct light because it was looking so sad and droopy. I wasn't worried about it burning. It has really, to me, really thick waxy leaves, kind of like the Monstera. Actually, probably a little bit thicker. So it can take the direct light. Humidity is another thing. Honestly, I haven't seen mine dried up too much, and it's just in my house in the living room in the east facing window.
Right.
So humidity isn't a big thing, but maybe like 40 to 50% humidity if you're actually looking to take great care of it.
Right. I mean, 40 to 50 is like household humidity.
Is it?
Okay. So I know the ones that I care about more, I'll put next to my humidifier. I did burn my Monstera this past summer because I just threw it out on my balcony and I didn't acclimate it as I should have, so it does still have some burn leaves.
How do you acclimate it, Lauren?
So preferably you should be putting up a sunscreen, or you can be exposing it to a couple hours at a time, especially if you're going to be giving it southern exposure.
So like slowly integrating it into the elements you're trying to get it into.
Right.
Gotcha.
And also you need to keep in mind that when you do have a bigger plant, these are plants that want to vine, like Lexi said. So her Brazil is currently vining up her basket right now. My Monstera is huge, it's trying to vine up. I'm currently trying to figure out a situation for it to vine up my wall. And my Monstera, my little one, is trying to go up a pole right now, and you can't see it because it's currently too small, but this did have a tiny little trellis when it was a tiny little plant. Pothos love to vine as well, so if you have them,
Yeah. Well, I don't know about philodendron, maybe you know this, but I know pothos, if you let them vine up, they get way bigger leaves than if they were to just droop or vine down.
They do, yeah,
But
it's the same.
is philodendron the same? It is? Okay, so they get bigger leaves if you let them vine up, which the philodendron hope actually doesn't vine.
Well, it's kind of, I put that in like the in-between category of like Monstera, because it kind of splays out like the Monstera, although the Monstera wants that climbing nature, it's the vine. So they send out those aerial roots, and the Philodendron hopes just kind of like...
They actually grow a trunk eventually.
Yeah.
They never get aerial roots. So I was trying to figure out a way to propagate it because she wanted a part of my philodendron hope, which I still owe you that. But you actually have to propagate them by division because they don't get aerial roots. So for a Monstera, you would cut the stem right below the aerial root at the node.
So I have tons
Right
of
there.
aerial roots right here, so we could take a cutting right up here. And also these you can take at the nodes. We have a node right here. You have nodes up here, like anywhere there's a node, and you can just stick that in water and wait for it to root.
Yeah.
So, and again, it's the same with pothos because they're very similar, and that's why some people have problems, figuring out which one is which. So, I guess we can get to that point right now, whether or not how you can tell you have a pothos or a philodendron. I have one huge pothos here. This is a golden pothos. And one way that you can tell that you have a pothos is, like Lexi said, the leaves come out of the vine itself and it leaves no shell behind. When you are looking, should have had to grab this plant. When you are looking at philodendrons, you can see the brown casing.
Shell casing?
Sure.
Makes it sound
We'll say casing. Left behind from the leaf emerging. So that's a very telltale sign that you're looking at a philodendron. And as Lexi said, you're not seeing that with the Monstera Edisonii. So, and I mean, you're not really seeing it with the Deliciosa as well.
Yeah.
They're its own thing. Once you know the difference, it's very easy to tell.
Yeah, you can just take a glance at it and tell what it is. And I mean, once you get to know your plants too, you're just like telling them. I know my friends get very annoyed at me whenever we go anywhere because I'm like at a restaurant. I'm like, oh my god, do you see the philodendron in the corner? It's great. And they're like,
do you talk exactly like that?
Just
too?
like that. My friends hate me. I don't know why they're friends with me. And they're like, okay, Alexi, like stop being a nerd. Can we go?
Well, I sent in our group chat a dog video the other day, and she literally goes, "Did you see that plant in the back? It was huge."
Seriously, I watch videos now or movies, and I'm like, "Did you see that plant?" I was watching The Path right now on Hulu, and this guy in the episode was like, I just really enjoy plants. That's my entire life. And I was like, wow, that's me in a snapshot. That is me.
We need I really just want the intro to be, I just really enjoy plants. I fucking can't.
Oh my goodness. It's just, I really enjoy plants.
I really enjoy plants. I can't.
That is basically my life.
Oh, anyways, I feel like we should include a Fiddle Leaf Fig update.
Oh, yes, mine has done literally nothing.
Are you ready for this? Should I go get mine?
Yeah, go get yours.
Yes.
And also, so I had a bout of fungus gnats and bought a sundew.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh my goodness. I bought a sundew to help like mitigate the problem, and it has grown like 6 new arms?
They're
Stems?
like leaves.
Are they leaves?
They're just sticky leaves.
Sticky leaves. I don't know. It's grown like 6 new ones because it's directly under the light. It's in a dish of purified water, and it is loving life.
Also, if you know how to propagate them, that'd be great because I would like them just to make sure things.
It was like $9, so.
I don't want to pay $9 for anything.
Okay. Well,
So, I have taken Lexi's advice and not watered my Fiddle Leaf Fig, and I have no more edema.
oh, good.
And I should probably water it today though, if you're not getting any growth.
Yeah.
I have 2 new leaves here. I have 2 new buds here.
Oh, you have a dead leaf though.
Yeah, that
R.I.P.
probably means I should water it.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I've got a new bud in here. And I'm looking at this right now.
Yeah.
2 new leaves here.
Is it sprouting off? It's creating its own
It's
another little
beautiful.
arm. Yeah, that's
I need
awesome.
to water him.
You do. You do. I just heavily watered mine yesterday, so
I think we're
I'll do.
me and him are good friends now.
I think my pot's actually smaller than yours.
You know, we had a good talk, made a compromise.
Oh, what was the
There's-
compromise?
Not gonna be any dying on my watch.
Thrive or die. Wait, do we have any other updates?
Let's take a look at these.
How about you guys tell us if you want to see any specific plants or specific updates?
And you give us your updates on your plans.
And your questions. Like,
Concerns.
I want to see your plants and how they're thriving or dying, so maybe we can like help each other out.
Yeah, I mean, if you just have one plant that you can't take care of, let me know. For me, that's African violets. Can't do them. You know, I get their leaves wet because, you know, if I can't get your leaves wet,
How am I supposed to water you? Subscribe or die.
hey, that was mine.
Oh, sorry. Cut. Go.
I want to think of a funny plant pun.
Oh, you had all this. This has been like a 20-minute video, and you've had this long.
Leave me alone!
Literally, when you said that, all I thought about was like, leave Amanda alone. Oh gosh. On that note.
I don't think this is a good outro.